In this lesson, we are going to be estimating fraction products through a brownie exploration. Yum! All right, Mrs. Rodriguez brought 1.5 pans of brownies to share with her classes. Miss Lee decided to bring twice as many pans of brownies to share with her students. How many pans of brownies will Miss Lee need to bring? Okay, so what is our problem going to be? We know that it is going to be multiplication because it's twice as many, and twice means to multiply by 2. So our expression is going to be 2 times 1.5. Well, if you look right here, here's a picture of what Mrs. Rodriguez brought. She brought 1 full pan of brownies and 1/2 a pan of brownies. So she brought 1.5 pans of brownies. Miss Lee wants to bring twice that, so she wants to have 2 groups of 1.5. So this is what Miss Lee's is going to look like. She's going to have 1 full pan of brownies, another full pan of brownies, that makes 2, and then she'll have 1/2 a pan and 1/2 a pan that's going to total out to 3. So Miss Lee is going to need to bring 3 pans of brownies. So when estimating, if you look, we want to know, is our answer, just by looking at the numbers alone, the factors that we're multiplying together, will our answer be less than 1.5? So this is the 1.5. Will our answer be less than that? Well, you can tell when you combine all of our pans of brownies together that it's going to be more than the 1.5. Will it be between 1.5 and 2 pans of brownies? Well, this is 1.5 pans of brownies. This would be 2 pans of brownies, and you can tell that it's going to be more than that. Is it going to be greater than the 2 pans of brownies? Yes. Hopefully you knew this anyway. It's been drilled into your head ever since elementary school that whenever you're multiplying 2 whole numbers together, the product is going to be larger than any of the factors. Okay, let's try another example. Mrs. Erickson's brownies. Miss Erickson has 18 brownies. So here's a pan of her brownies. She's already got hers cut up. She wants to give 2/3 of the brownies to Miss Lee's class. How many brownies will the class receive? All right, we want to know, we want to be able to estimate, will the number of brownies that Miss Lee's class receive be less than 2/3? Will it be between 2/3 and 18, or will it be greater than 18? Okay, hopefully you've made your decision. Let's go ahead and work this problem. So these are the brownies that Mrs. Erickson has, and she wants to give 2/3 of. This "of" right here, that is a word that means multiplication. A lot of students think "of" means to divide, but it doesn't. It means to multiply. So whenever you see that word "of," you need to think of multiplication. So this would be, the expression would be 2/3 times 18, 2/3 of the 18. Okay, we need to show 2/3 of this. Well, luckily for us, it's already been cut into 3 rows. It's already been cut into thirds. So we can just go through and we can shade 2/3. So 2 out of the 3 rows. So there's our 2/3. Okay, the amount, what you see shaded in the pink, is the 2/3 of the 18 brownies. So is this greater than the 18? No, of course not. Okay, is it less than 2/3? No, it's not less than 2/3. It's actually going to be between 2/3 and 18. So this would be our estimated product. And this sounds reasonable because we're multiplying a part times a whole. Whenever you're taking part of a whole, your answer is going to be less than the whole, but it's still going to be larger than the part. And the last example, Mr. Pham wants to buy 1/2 of a pan of brownies that is 2/3 full. What fraction of the pan will he purchase? So he wants to buy 1/2 of 2/3. So there's that "of" again, which means multiplication. So this is the pan of brownies. It's been cut into thirds, but it's only 2/3 full, which is why you only see 2/3 of it in brownies. He wants to purchase 1/2 of this. Well, let's go ahead and cut it into half. Cut the pan into half, and then we're going to shade 1/2 of the pan. All right, so let's look at the area that Mr. Pham is going to buy. The area that Mr. Pham, or the area of the pan that he's going to buy, is going to be this area right here. It's where you have the green overlapping with the brownies. So this area right here, is it greater than the 2/3? Well, this whole row would be 2/3, and it's not. It's only 2 sections of it. So it's not greater than. Is it between 1/2 and 2/3? Well, 1/2 would be half would be 3 sections. The 2/3 would be 4 sections. So it's not in between because it's only 2. So it's going to be less than 1/2. And that makes sense too, because you're multiplying a part times another part. You're not wanting the whole part or more than the part. You're wanting less than a part. So part times a part will always give you less than either factors. So going through to review, whenever you're multiplying, whether it's fractions or decimals, that you're multiplying with 2 whole numbers, 2 whole number factors, your answer is going to be larger than either factor. Okay, if you're multiplying a whole number with a part, then your product is going to be in between the 2. And if you're multiplying a part times a part, your product will be less than the smallest part. This is something that you can use when you're doing your multiplication to help you check to see that you did it correctly. Estimate your answer, do the math, and then actually look at your answer. Did you solve it correctly? Hope this helps.